So today we are going to talk about congruent polygons. And remember that if images are congruent, then that means they have the same shape and size. So they're identical to each other. And within those, we have what we call corresponding angles and corresponding sides. That word corresponding means same position. So exact same position, just on a different figure. Um, so the corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. This piece right here, this information right here, I would pause this video and write that in your notes and highlight it and make sure it's very obvious where it is because you will end up using this later on in this unit. So CPCTC stands for corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, let's just look at an example here. Position matters. So this right here is what we call a similarity statement. And that statement is very, very important to know what parts of your images are corresponding to each other. So the order matters. The A is the first one in this one, the D is the first one in this one. So that's why those two angles are congruent to each other because those are corresponding. The B and the E are the second ones, and the C and the F are the third ones. And then same thing holds true when we read it. A to B is congruent to D to E. So those segments are congruent. B to C is the second and the third one. So E to F is congruent to that. And then A to C and D to F. So the position of that within your statement is how you're going to identify those corresponding angles and sides. So let's practice a problem. So it says, given triangle PQR is congruent to triangle STW, we want to identify all those corresponding parts. So P is the first one, which means angle P is going to be congruent to angle S, which is the first one in the second triangle. Angle Q is going to be congruent to angle T, and angle R is going to be congruent to angle W because those are all in the same position of your similarity or your congruent statement, excuse me. Okay, so then that's your angles. When I say identify all pairs of corresponding parts, so you have all your angles and you also have all of your sides. So that means side length PQ is congruent to side length ST because those are in the same position. QR is going to be congruent to TW. And then PR is going to be congruent to SW. Those would be your corresponding congruent parts. So now why do we need to know that? Well, when we are given images and problems where they give us variables and we have to find those variables, it helps to know what parts are congruent to each other. So what I do, we have to find x and y. So let's find x first. And notice the x is right here. We have an x right here. I'm not going to use this one because it has x and y missing. So you want to use this one first. So this is the segment Q to R. So if you go up here, QR is right here. So what is in the same position? FG. So then you look over here on this other one, and FG is right here. And because these are congruent, based on that congruent statement, that means that those two parts are going to be equal. So that means 2x minus 4 is equal to 12. And now that's an easy equation for us to solve. We're going to add 4 to both sides, and we get 2x equals 16, and then divide both sides by 2, and we get x equals 8. And that just said to find x, so I'm done. That's my answer. And now that I know x, we can find y, because this right here is really 8. So this is the same thing as saying 6y plus 8. And that is angle Q. So again, look, we have angle Q as this third one, which is the same as angle F. So we're going to use this, and we're going to set them equal to each other. So 6y plus 8 equals 68. And then we just simply solve. Minus 8 on both sides